Hello, guys. Welcome to another Self-Care Sunday. I really enjoyed this broadcast. We are going to be with Rachael, of course. My name is Rod. I am Rachel's husband and caregiver and chef and house cleaner and everything else. I really enjoyed today's episode. We're going to talk about recovery, self-care, and also some not only self-care, but some ideas behind self-care. And the opposite of self-care is to burn out. So we're going to try our best to balance ourselves with self-care. There's a lot of pain, a lot of hurt out there, and self-caring will be the antidote. So enjoy today's episode. Thank you for watching and enjoy. Well, hello. It is Sunday. It is Self-Care Sunday. And I am very, very excited as usual to do this, kicking the new year off right with some self-care talk. And we do have our first guest on board as well. But before we go there, we do have our lovely warrior, our unicorn princess, my wife, my confidant. She is my woman. Welcome aboard, Miss Rachael Farrow. Hello, Rachael. Ooh, I love you. This coloring just makes you look vibrant. I love it. You have the purple and pink on your side of the screen there.
You know I'm all about the rainbows. I love seeing my rainbows.
We almost didn't do it today, and then Rachael says, no, we must. I said I would, and here we are. How you feeling today, sweetheart?
I've had better days, let's just say. Could you lower the music a bit, Rod?
Sure, go ahead.
It's been a week, let's just say that, right? I've had some challenges happen from what's been going on recently is that I've been having GI issues and just some very bizarre symptoms that they thought were COVID, and I was tested and it's not, but what has been happening for the past few days is I've not been myself, and I've been really, really sick. And I always finish my food. That's one thing I do, and I've not been able to eat properly. I've been going through a lot of nausea, and you guys know me. I will white knuckle through nausea not to, have anything come up. And I've been a little bit having food come up and it's been running straight through me, and I've been disoriented and it just didn't feel right. So thank God we got home health out right away to alert them, and then they ran the labs and they think there's a bacterial infection in my GI possibly, or some kind of inflammation. But I was really I needed my Zofran, and they were getting it so where it could work, because if I take it orally, it really has a limited effect. So I get a prescription for it to be dosed subcutaneous. Finally got the script in and was able to actually keep some food down finally, because a lot of it's flushing through me on the end that you probably don't want to hear about, the back end where it's not digesting. So they think it could have been caused by the dental work and the nutrition that had to be adjusted, but they're saying it seems bacterial, because this is very out of character and out of my norm, because I've been pushing the envelope eating and getting back to my better nutrition. So it's really taken its toll on me. And they found out the only they have this now where you can measure your electrolytes right where you're at, but they can only run 4 of them. And one of them they can't run is magnesium. So they checked my potassium, chloride, sodium, and calcium. All of them were really, really low. So they were like, you did the right thing by contacting us. And I was relentless. Right, Rod? I mean, I'm usually I'll deal with it later, because it gets when you're medical, it gets exhausting, right?
Yeah, you're very proactive on getting things together, and I was actually in the kitchen cooking and everything. I come down and we're like, well, they're coming tonight. I was like, wow, you're a fast worker, but you were very persistent on getting things underway. So I'm very proud of you on that end.
I'm a little proud of me on that too because
Yeah,
I
it was
something I
fast.
never do, and I'm like, no, you're gonna do what you committed to, and that's self care Sunday. I said I would self care, and you guys are my accountability buddies. I just like that word, accountability buddy,
I love it
and
too.
I know it just helps. We have this great connection. When I help, I get helped. Some of us who have that purpose experience that joy of being helped while helping. And they found that having purpose is actually clinically proven to improve mental health.
Yes.
So, helping others, regardless of where you're at, just that feeling of connecting, it's much better than isolating, right? That's
Right.
what
Right.
we're about. And we have
Yeah.
a fun guest today,
Yes,
right,
we
Bud?
do. Yes, we do. And we're going to handle a lot of the questions that have already been asked. I'll bring up on the screen, and also take your questions that you'll leave on the screen currently as well here towards the end. But yeah, we have a special guest, Rachel, our first guest on screen. I'm so excited.
Woo, woo. And you have
Uh,
to forgive me if I'm a little out of it, just keep in mind my electrolytes are very, very low. So
yes.
if I'm a little disoriented or not quite myself, just please forgive me right now.
Yes. So this gentleman we're going to bring on board, he actually has been with me for quite a while doing this show. Indoors Wildcat Chat. It is a class Taft High class reunion broadcast that we started right when the pandemic started in order to connect. And we've done 75 episodes with our classmates. It's crazy, but we've been able to, reunite a lot of people, and we're still going because there's a lot more classmates to hit. But without further ado, one of my best friends, if not the Mr. Shane. Shane, welcome aboard, sir.
Hi.
We are going to talk self care today. I like that.
Okay. Bring
Self
it
Care
on.
Sunday. We like it,
Hi,
Shane.
Rach.
Hi, baby. How are you? We're just so grateful that you're here with us. Rod and I both cherish you so very much. I kind of stole you from him.
Same
I'm like,
here.
he's
You guys are
mine
great
too.
humans.
So
Yeah,
tell
I was going. You know what? Shane would be great to join the little clique we have going on here on Sundays because I mean, um, yeah, he has his own situation as a parent. He's going through and he's fighting his own battle, And we just thought about having him on board to talk about self care and everything else we have to talk about.
and share his experience. So,
Yes, exactly.
what is it like, Shane, for you?
Well, first off, I just want to say it's cakewalk to your journey, Rachel, and I'm inspired. Hopefully, as are others that know your story, and from knowing Rod and knowing your backstory and current fights and everything that's transpired. I mean, you inspire me because all your courage and all your trials that you've succeeded and overcome. But I didn't want to focus on me, but thank you for having me first and foremost. um, what would you like to know from me? I guess I'm just
What
some you
what
know
is your experience in mental health with
men-
raising children and whatnot?
my experience I've had. I did go through some therapy um, for some years. I had troubles emotionally. I went through at one point in my life a really tough divorce, and also separate from that, just personally internally with me, I was going through some depression. I got diagnosed with some manic depression and went through a handful of therapists, which was not fruitful. But after getting maybe the right one for a while, where I resided, it was helpful and productive. And like many people who state or speak out about mental health, it is important, and people don't, I guess, address it or maybe um, let's say, value it as much as I think people should. I mean, it's a side of health, aside from the many aspects of health that I think should have the proper attention given to it.
Right.
Anyways, if you're asking my experience, I did go through some troubled times. Um, I went through it. Um, I I was seriously opposed for a while. I thought, "What the hell is this?"
Right.
"What kind of treatment is this? Why am I going to someone I'm gonna have to, like, be redundant and keep spewing out everything that's already killing me already inside?"
Right.
And, like, I have to maybe, uh, keep talking about the same stuff that's, like, uh, just eating me up like crazy and make it worse, and I felt like sometimes initially, during sessions, I would come out of it feeling worse than I'm like, "Well, what help is this gonna give me?" You know?
Right.
But then you realize, okay, there's a process, they're trying to dig in and,
Yeah.
it's the whole blueprint and such. It was hard because I have as I learned, I had a really stubborn, walled off, standoffish, wall around me, and, it's always been the way I've been. Um
Yeah.
I've had this, "I'll handle it myself, I'll figure it out" kinda
Oh,
deal.
I feel you on
And
that.
people fail,
Right.
I guess, doing that, but
I feel you on that.
and it went longer than expected, and,
Right.
when you open up and give in and the walls come down,
Yeah.
you just kinda embrace and just throw the white flag up, and if you're big enough to, like, just, you know, seek some other resolve, then it can help you. It just depends. What's concerning is there's folks out there in the world that maybe can't let that down and embrace it, and try to.
But you know what, Shane? A lot of that is due to the stigma
Mhm,
because the way we look at it in the United States, they think we talk about it like choice. Other countries don't do that.
sure.
Like we don't choose to have this problem or whatnot. And the one thing that they establish in therapy with all the clinical studies now is not what the most important thing in therapy is. A lot of people will think, oh, it's CBT or motivational interviewing or all dialectical behavioral therapy, all these different modalities. The number one most contributing factor to getting the help you need and to making those changes is the connection between you and the therapist.
Right.
That's the most, that's the number one indicator of any successful program is if that person can connect with you. They
Right.
teach you that in addiction studies now. They teach you that in everything. Forget the wah wah wah, the different therapies. We'll get to that. The connection, feeling safe, feeling
Right. It's
okay.
an intimate thing. I mean, people are
Right.
diving right in, and I get it. There's a comfort level. There's there's a lot of layers to it. I've went through a handful, so yeah,
And you do sometimes till you find
yeah,
the right fit. It's like trying on new clothes. This doesn't fit that right. This isn't quite what I really want out of it. If you don't make that connection from the get go, the chances of that person returning to therapy is very low. The way they retain is keeping that connection and seeing
yeah,
you where you're at.
yeah.
What I've struggled with too is like taking things personal. You know what I mean? As far as with not only with Rachel's situation, but other situations that people think, oh, it's a you're not doing this because you don't love me, or you're doing this just to get you know underneath my skin or whatever. And it's not about that. It's not about a vindictive personal thing. I'm going to hurt me to hurt you. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And yeah, it's a very complex situation all around. I mean, with not only with Rachel's situation, but there's all kinds of, addiction, alcoholism. There's a lot of different angles of mental illness that can be handled. But
Yeah. I
that
mean,
it's not a personal thing, you know.
it's like somebody. I'll speak for myself. Can you? I'm with you on the same generation, Shane. Back then, there was no internet. There was no. I mean, you didn't hear about these kind of mental health things, right? You didn't. They
Yeah,
didn't
then
talk
there's the
about
whole Hank Hill
AIDS.
mental, like, machismo, like, just, rub some dirt on it, figure
Oh
it out,
yeah.
get
Oh,
through
that's
it.
my
There was
favorite.
that whole, yeah, there wasn't that whole
Sorry.
science of it. Yeah, right.
I'm sorry.
Just
My
be a
favorite
man and get
is,
through it, so.
yeah, just tough love and just do it. You know, and I'm not saying that doesn't not work on some. You know, I mean, some people respond to that, but that's why there's one different form of treatment. In the United States, we just do the tough love and we're done. But other countries have higher success rates. They don't do that. And like I said, it's not that it might not work. It just a lot of times it doesn't. And that can be with eating disorders or any condition
And it did
whatsoever.
not help too, with side bouts in different earlier times in my life with, drugs or alcohol too. That does not help the chemistry of, like, look, we need to get in touch with you know,
You can't
And you
just
know
numb
what
the
they
them.
mental
do?
side of it. Like, you got to cast all the crap aside, and yeah. So
Right. They do these scans of the brain now, PET scans. And what happens is those who have those problems, they have impairment in their prefrontal cortex, right? So they cannot engage in executive functioning. So now what they're seeing, how much trauma, uh, there's such a tiny, tiny distance between your trauma brain and your logical part of your brain. It's really interesting when you look at the scans of the brain. So they're finding that people aren't not choosing. It's not that their brains don't produce it. There is impairment.
there's a
You're
lot
not,
of chemistry that goes on,
yeah.
right?
I
With
love my
the
favorite
humans.
thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My favorite thing is everything psychological becomes biological. That like
Yeah, it's
that's
true.
true.
Yep.
Like good or bad, right? And our 90% automatic negative self-talk or autopilots that engage, right? So anything we're thinking in the background that we're not even aware of, it's our default mechanism. So we're trying to override it via learning neuroplasticity to forge those new connections because your brain doesn't have them yet, but they take time to develop. That's why it needs to be done with gentle kindness and meeting the person where they're at. They find with more collaboration, the higher the success. It's not coercion, but it does sometimes coercion does work on certain individuals, typically younger, blah, 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 blah. But they find if you collaborate, your success rate goes way up. There's very few that respond to coercion.
You gotta walk the road together, right?
Hand
We
in
have
hand.
some shout outs, folks.
And I'm sorry, Shane, if I interrupted you.
Oh,
There's
you
one
did
from
not. No.
Hi.
Nicole.
Was my girl. There
Nicole
she
says
is.
he loves, hope
That's
all
my
is
Nicole,
well.
baby girl. I
And
love
we
her.
have one from Marcy. She says,
Hi, Marcy.
hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está? Oh,
Not the one for
not,
you.
my,
Seen her
not the one
before.
for you with my food suggestions. I never forgot you. I
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
forget any of you. Hi,
Hello.
Deb. Oh,
Hello,
you're wearing
Deb.
my favorite character, Loki.
Okay.
That's funny because my gaming name is Toki, which means the
Yes.
little
Whoa,
rabbit.
whoa,
I
whoa!
thought
Let me
that was
stop you.
good.
Wait,
Let's
Rachel's a
uh,
gamer.
yeah, let's talk about that, Rachel. She's
Wait,
just
wait, wait.
yeah.
Come on now. Wait, wait. I didn't know this side of you. You're
You're
a
a gamer?
gamer?
You're a gamer, Shane?
No, 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 no. When I was younger, I'm too
I
busy
was
and old now.
kidding.
But no,
I know. I was
are
Let-
you
kidding.
a current gamer?
Tell us about your history and what's happened this week, Ray.
What games are you playing, Rachel?
Oh,
Are you
okay.
a first person shooter like Call of Duty, or what are you doing?
I used to play like Quake, Doom. I go old school. I'm an old school gamer, like back in the day. Like back in the day,
LAN
first person
parties, right?
shooters. LAN parties.
Wow.
Used to network 30 computers in a household. I could do all that back then. But what's funny is I can wire a computer and network and do all that, but I can't self-care very well. Like I can do this. It's
That's why
complicated.
we're here. See? Hence why we're
And
here.
so Rod has never experienced that side of me. And he's like, you don't have any fun, Rachel. You've been overdoing it, overworking.
Wow.
I'm all, but I feel guilty when I have fun.
No,
And
you need escapes.
I know.
Yeah.
You need recreation.
I didn't realize that, and I didn't know what fun was anymore. Fun to me was connecting and learning, but that was overtaxing my system, and I was just burning out. And I shared that in the last video that I just overdid it, and it wasn't. It was kind of all what happened was our peer support happened at the end. School happened. All of this stuff happened really, like it just happened on its own. And I should have just backed out, but that was a dumb mistake on my part. But the good news is, Rod goes, "You've always told me about gaming, but I've never seen you do it." And it's been like,
Although you've warned me, you're all, you don't want to introduce gaming because you might lose me altogether here.
I
'Cause
go, I told him,
tell
"Don't unleash the beast. You're gonna unleash the beast." And he's like, "Unleash it." So I found my old laptop. It's like really old, and it could barely boot up. And
she's
yeah, I know, literally,
you know,
it's like it was probably about
Windows 7.
It's probably no, it's Windows 8. That's how old it is. So it's really, really old. And guess what? I'm playing Diablo 3 boop, boop, RPG right now. I haven't gotten back into the first person shooter because my computer can't handle it yet.
she
So
has
I'm
such a
RPG.
focused face when she plays, Shane. She's
Oh,
just
I
you know,
gotta send you a gamer pic. This is me.
she's plugged in.
Yeah,
This tongue thing
I
I
had
do.
some expletives in my day, so I had to make sure, the kids weren't around.
Right? You get
Oh.
too involved in it.
I gotta tell you, Rachel can vouch for this one. I think there's something going on with our neighbor. Something's going on because he goes, ah, oh, he was making all these, all the. I goes, were you watching football or something? And Rachel goes, I know those sounds. I've heard those before. I think he's a gamer. I go, is that what it is? Oh
I
wow,
kept
okay.
thinking he's hurting somebody.
I
Should we
go,
call the police? I'm like,
yeah.
no, he's gaming. Leave him alone.
Should we call
That's
Adult
gamer.
Protective Services, or what should we do with this guy? But
Yeah,
yeah, he was so loud. Oh my gosh,
you know, to
it's
to
intense.
to maybe turn back to your central theme, Rachel, gaming, um, or anything similar that gives you some sort of release or joy, I'm sure can help in the mental health aspect because
Yes.
as we were talking earlier, if there's something that gives you joy, or maybe something that gives a different stimuli,
Yes.
that's positive too. My big thing was back when I was diagnosed, I felt really funny when I went to see a therapist. Oh,
Right.
we
Yeah.
determined that A and B and C,
Right.
um,
I
it was
understand.
like, I had this big hang up, and the thing that I hated, and I still hated it for the longest time, is my big trigger, or I don't know, central core of whatever they pulled out of their diagnosis. I had this bad problem of, at some point, whatever was great, whatever was positive, at some point it's eventually going to end.
Yeah.
So the best way I can describe it is, okay, say we're going to go to Disneyland, we're going to go to Carnival or a picnic.
Right.
At some point, it's sundown, it's 5 p.m., it's going to end and it's going to be
Right.
done. My brain chemistry got shitty to where, excuse me, and it was anything like an act in life, or it could be an event, or going to a recital, or going to this or that. At some point, it was going to end, and so like I had this bad trouble with I had a fast forward mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You
I
could
would
enjoy
get
the moment,
somewhere
right?
and I'm thinking already to the forefront. Like you
Right.
buy a new
Yeah.
book and you're like, oh, the last chapter, someone's going to die anyway. So what's the use of being happy and
Right.
enjoying the journey versus, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was, I hated it. It was a bad rut to get out of. Um, I'm a cerebral person and I think and probably overthink a lot of stuff. And I get kind of
Hell
like
yeah.
brainiac on stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I grew
Hell
up,
yeah.
but like I would think already ahead and be jaded for this, or already overthink
Right.
that. It's
You're
like,
already
oh, this
future
is cool.
tripping.
I'm already enjoying this, but it's gonna suck because I can already foresee these 5 things. And my problem was I couldn't let go of what's gonna be or what I think's gonna be and enjoy it in the moment. And that was that's it, it sucked. That was really frustrating. It really
Yeah.
was.
And
Uh,
that's like the future tripping we do in our
Yeah,
brain because we're trying to,
that's what I was gonna
like, for
say.
me it's a trauma response. I'm like trying to go, okay, this, and I'm never present in the moment.
Yeah, Shane's like, I can't get too happy because it's all going to be all done
Right.
soon. So
You know,
that
maybe
takes
it's
away
because
from the experience,
I'm
right?
a Philadelphia fan. Like before we ever saw any kind of success, we always the bottom's going to drop out. I'm just kidding. Sorry, sidebar, little tangent.
No, but
We
it's
have
for real. It's like, and when we talk about being present, being mindful, it's hard to stay in the moment. And also when you're going through physical, psychological, emotional pain, that what you want to run from it, right? You're like, just get me out of this pain. And the thing is pain is a part of the process and being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And we got to get uncomfortable in recovery in order to push each other. But we do it with kindness. One of the things with coercion that I just have to talk about is for many people, coercion should be the last strand. That's an inevitable choice that might happen, right?
which leads me to this comment real quick, Rachel. Look at this
Sure.
one. To interrupt you, but Lisa says,
Uh-huh.
if someone's ready for change, they don't need to be coerced. Good point.
Oh, Lisa.
Boom. Nailed it.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, that's
Well said. Well
beautiful.
said.
That is well said.
Didn't mean
Because
to punch you, Lisa, but
I
I just
know.
that
Boo
was a fist
boo.
bump, is what that
Fist
was.
bump that, Lisa. Wow. See what I'm saying? I'm these people are these are my family, Sean Shade. These people are my family. They've been with me and they're the most insightful, brilliant people. My Michelle, I love my Michelle. I know who she is. And you know
Hello,
what
Buster.
we're talking about because so many people this coercion keeps coming up. And these so-called experts who resort to coercion, it's because what happens is the problem is too complex, and they're not like they don't they're not susceptible that it could to that they think it should just be easily understood. They don't want to know why is this not working because an individual is complicated. Biological, psychological, social factors all come into play. So one person's experience can be completely different from someone who has the same problem, right? But their experience is different. How they respond is different. So to me, coercion is the last resort.
can you enlighten me a little more? I'm kind of gray on the coercion stuff. Can you fill me in more on this coercion?
Yeah, a lot of people will tell you just shut up and stop the BS and just do it. Like, and then you just need to do it. Go
Kind
to
of
treatment.
dismissing things.
Yeah, like kind of
Okay.
like just do it. You're whining about it. You've done this long enough. You just need to shut up and go to treatment because that's what we all do and that's how we all get better. And they use very black and white thinking in that same they're telling you to go to therapy and do all that, but they're using the same black and white thinking. Do
Uh,
it this way or the other.
Rachel, I
But
think you've been peeking into my notes because I had a
uh,
comment from earlier. I want to read this one out loud here.
Leanne, I'm sorry, but I think maybe it's time you should. Yeah, tough love. Okay. And call her on her BS. A part of recovery is doing things that you don't like or make you feel uncomfortable. And she's right. Recovery is about making it uncomfortable. But the problem is when you I just honestly I want to plead with someone like that. If anything I say is not satisfactory to you, just do me a favor. Just don't follow me. Okay? It's not to protect just me, it's against your adverse remarks, but it's to protect others who we share our experience with because they recoil at that bullying and they start closing up and they feel that shame and guilt. And so for them to feel vulnerable and comfortable, please just if you don't mind, just please leave the channel so that way they feel safe because they keep recoiling and then they'll private message me. See, that's why I don't talk about it. That's why I don't talk about it because they'll treat me like they do you. And that's why I shut up. And they think that that's the only way that works. So, and we're doing this just to help each other, guys. We're not doing this to stay stuck.
Yeah, we've been down that road before. We've done the bullying and coercion,
Yeah. It's
guilt
only
and
about,
shaming, the whole nine, and it just amplifies the eating disorder mind. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It
for
just
me,
makes
it
it
does.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got worse every time that happened. And honestly, sharing this on social media has harmed me. It has. But I'm trying to keep looking at the positive, at the people it has helped. And like I said, I'm not doing this for fame. This isn't about fame. This is about love and just strength, focus. And like Rod said, when you shame and guilt like that, it just makes personally my eating disorder loud. So my what did Sarah, Jezebel say? My therapist uses tough love on me. It was extremely difficult to endure. Thank you, Jezebel, for sharing. It's hard to endure that. I know I'm not saying tough love in a bad way of like be sometimes you need to be a bit confrontational. I get that. But swearing at them, coercing, putting them in confinement, they put me on solitary confinement. When someone's depressed, do you think coercion and solitary confinement helps or hurts? I've never read a study that solitary confinement helps
Yeah.
people. What I
It's
found
similar
is
to
that they, yeah,
imprisoning somebody, you know?
right, it's isolating them further. And the thing is, like I said, coercion can work. But for me, for someone who's very trauma based, it made it worse. And I got worse each time. And it hurts. Thank you, Allie. I know you, babe. I know it hurts like hell. And some of us are still licking our wounds. So I looked up more information. They're not really coercing anymore. They're trying to pivot the United States model to be more like Portugal and collaborate. Because now people in the United States are realizing collaborating with the person, you'll have better results. You know what I respond to? Can I share it with you? Of what therapy works for me is motivational therapy. And what it's about here and now. We don't look at the past and go, why did this, why, and get stuck. We look at right now and we go, you know what's awesome about you? I see that, you know what, Shane? You know what I saw about you? You were really open to sharing and you're doing it in front of quite a few people. And you're very courageous doing it. Like that vulnerability that you're having, that's just so you know, that's a strength focus tool that I
Well,
just said. Very specific about you, very personable, right? And it's very identifiable where I can see it and I
And
need you
relatable.
to see it.
Yeah.
So you might not have known that. You might not have seen that about yourself. So I said it, and pointed that out for you. It's not, that's kind of what motivational interviewing is. It's strength focused.
well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, part of the therapy that I finally found that was effective was, embracing and being open and out there with it. I mean, until you face what's happening and
Face those
which
demons.
is essentially getting a hold of, okay, this is me, this is what I got to work on. I mean, there's nothing wrong being open about it. I mean, that helps. The It's kind of like, let's
Yeah.
say, you're thinking out loud.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
given a kind of
You're
like
giving
a
your thoughts some legs.
right.
Right?
Speaking it and saying it is making it happen. That kind of thing.
And that's
On
neuroplasticity.
some level or more. Embracing it, knowing it, and just living it until it becomes routine. And
Right.
that's part of it is being open with it. You can't like tuck it in the corner or in the pocket or go sit in the little
Right. Secrets are toxic,
closet
dude.
and with a cult and talk about it. It's out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Secrets are toxic. They are toxic when you hold it up. And
It's
there's something
inspiring,
to be
Shane.
said about
well,
affirmation. Like you know what I used to say, Shade? I would look in the mirror, like when therapists tell you, say your affirmations in the mirror, and you're like, I feel so dumb. I am strong.
like that
I
SNL
am,
guy, you're special, and
I'm
by golly,
special. Everybody likes you, right? The SNL thing, right? And
and it
everybody
doesn't hurt
likes.
sometimes, to maybe
But
if you
wait, wait,
have
wait.
to.
Let me tell you this. You know why I didn't realize? I just wanted to share this with you because it blew my mind. What they're doing is all they're doing is doing that neuroplasticity. That's what they're doing. They're by you saying it over and over again, you start believing it.
Yep.
And then it becomes part of your automatic thoughts. So those automatic negative thoughts eventually, and it takes time and you feel silly, right, doing it. But that's what changes. That's how neuroplasticity happens. And I don't know if you can relate, Shade, but I was diagnosed just more recently. I'm getting still clinically diagnosed. I didn't know I was on the spectrum. I was like, I'm finding out. See, like people will simplify. I don't have anorexia. That's my problem. I have a fundamental other problems that are my problems that were not diagnosed.
It led to anorexia.
Then came the anorexia. Like I
Yeah.
was underdiagnosed. I didn't know I had ADHD, hyperactive. I didn't know I was possibly on the spectrum. I didn't know there was such a thing as OCD, trichotillomania, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. I didn't know about any of that stuff. So once being diagnosed when you're like 45, you're like, oh, okay, now I know
Yeah, I
what
wish I
I'm
would have known
dealing with.
that beforehand.
Yeah, I'm like,
Right?
level of awareness raised, then I can do something about it. Does that make sense, Shade? And I
Yeah.
apologize
Oh,
about
perfectly. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Well, to go
yeah.
through some of these questions, you guys, I just kind of pulled them from last time we did this last Sunday. Um, Someone had a kind of a gut check on you on this one, Rach. So you can just read it there.
Rachel, I'll hail the doctor. Are you afraid to get better? I have that impression. You know what? Sometimes I am. I'm very honest. I am afraid of getting better, but it's not why people think. Why I'm afraid to get better is I've been assaulted as a child and as an adult in more ways than you probably want to know, and it was ongoing for a long time. And so when I had a female figure, I felt unsafe. And I didn't know that at the time. I was subconsciously trying to not look attractive. And so that's one of the reasons I have a hard time is getting in a female body. It doesn't have to do with weight or, those kind of things. It's more I have a very curvaceous body and it's a beautiful body I could say now looking back, but I get scared when I'm in it, when I feel it, when my um, woman areas develop. Let's just say that figure. Then I start feeling it's like being unsafe in your own home that you can't escape. Does that make sense at all? Like feeling unsafe in your own home or body. That's what it feels like. Why I'm so scared.
Well, that kind of led to this question too, um, by Soapy.
Sophie, the problem with social media is that people want to see a story, right? With a beginning, middle, and ending. But what we are watching is a real life in real time, not a story. Oh, Sophie,
It's a story in itself, right?
that was beautiful. You really see. Oh my God, Rod, could you put that up one more time?
Sure, sure.
Exactly, Sophie. They want to see the happy ending, right? But this is a journey. It's not somebody's story. I'm giving you guys access to something very private. I'm giving you, I kind of feel like I'm giving like the most precious part of me. I'm putting it for you guys to see. And I'm holding it like that because it's so precious to me. I feel like I'm giving you the biggest gift I can. And so when someone starts pooping on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just gave you like my virginity or my, something so sacred to me, my story, my journey. It's not just a fairy tale happy ending, but I hope it, I know I will, I'm going to say, I know I will get better. I know I will get better. I just might take a little longer. It just might take me, buddy. Sometimes we take a step forward and then we take some steps back. They don't even call them relapses anymore. They call them reoccurrence to get rid of the stigma because it's almost inevitable with, mental health and addiction. is reoccurrences, but you never start from where you started.
Mm.
You know that? You're always a bit ahead each time. Even when you reoccur, you're still further along than you originally were, right? So
Uh,
that's what it's been like.
one more I want to put up, then we can continue. I like the name Marco Embargo. It's very relatable. You guys are
Oh,
being
I
so
love it.
up in front talking about
Oh,
your
Marco and
situations.
Barco. I have a mental illness and I don't feel safe in my mental home or body. Yes, that's exactly. See, I'm surrounded by brilliant people. I tell you, that's exactly what I mean, my love. Exactly. Oh, oh, I can't tell you. I was feeling so down in the dumps today. I really was. I was ready, just like the whole who cares, you know? People are shaming, guilty. And I'm like, but you know what? I go, Rachel, you got this. You're stronger than this. And then you know what happened? My neighbor walked by.
Oh yeah,
I got to say something about
she
her.
may be watching. She
I, I,
follows you.
I did. I won't identify who she was. She goes, "It's good to see you," and just was so sweet and say, "I love just seeing you out." And I'm like, "Ah!" And I said her name. You know, we said hi, and she goes, "I can't believe how people treat you online." I go, what?" And she goes, "Oh, I follow you too." I'm like, "Oh, weird. You're just my bud. I didn't know that." And she goes, "Yeah, I don't under." She goes, "They people do that to me sometimes, but the way they talk to you online, I can't even, oh my gosh." She's like, "How do you stand it?" I go, she reminded me, she goes, "But you know about you." She has a positive outlook like me too. She goes, "You try to see the good in people." I said, I do. I do. Even with that negative comment, I know she's just trying to help. And I don't want to put her off either. The coercion. I didn't mean to address her in any way. I didn't even know about the comment. So
Yeah, I think it's understanding that they're hurting as well, and so they're kind of
yeah. And
projecting their hurts.
they think that their way works and it did for them. So I'm like, great, that helped you. But for me it didn't work. You see? And so I see that she's trying to help. And I ask her to change the channel for the safety of others, not just for myself. For the safety of others. That's all. And that's what we're here to do, is promote love and kindness. And
Uh,
that's why I love Shane.
we're going to start to have these broadcasts on YouTube. So if you want to get notified, because we have Share Martin
Hi,
Rindle,
Shane. Oh,
get your notifications by clicking the bell.
oh yes. Hit the If you go on
Subscribe.
YouTube,
I like
hit
that.
the subscribe, hit the bell. That will notify you. And
Boom.
like,
See?
yeah, we do this for just to create awareness and love and just a safe space for others. So that's why I ask, please keep your comments constructive. They can be critical. I don't mind that, but constructively critical, not to where to debase somebody, right? We don't need any more help with our negative thoughts. We're already pros. I'm like, I have my PhD in negativity of myself, right? But I'm getting my diploma, my elementary grade diploma on kindness to myself. So I'm graduating very slowly on the self-care. So
Yes. And I like
uh,
Marco's comment. What did she say?
bada
Bada bing,
bing,
boom,
bada
bada.
boom. Oh, I like it. Girl,
Love
I
it.
love it.
Oh, wow. There you go. Well, this is great, you guys.
Agreed. Uplift, do not drag down. You know what?
Question, Shane. What do you do for self-care, since it's a
Yeah.
topic as well?
I want to hear from Shane.
what do you do
Well,
for self-caring for
what do you
yourself?
mean specifically for self
Oh, I
Well,
care?
I
have
mean,
self care.
you're running around with the
Oh,
kids,
oh, oh,
and
oh.
you have a lot going on, your work, and when you take a time out,
I mean,
what is your
I'm
self-care?
in a good place. You know, at age 50, you know, you're on a level where you've got, as you maybe think, things figured out. You have a routine, your life, your work, your role, your feelings, in your demeanor and moods, how you can handle and embrace whatever comes at you. But first and foremost, as a parent, that keeps you grounded. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of parents out there who may be watching, it gives you a different role and purpose. So you put others or something else bigger than you before you. So that's a big positive thing, because you've got to handle that and make that paramount before you. Um,
Is that you
at the
buying
same
time to
time, if we're
figure out what
going
you're
back
doing
to the
with
mental
self-care?
health thing, when people don't give treatment or care to themselves, um, you do have to do for yourself at some point, and maybe the self identity can get lost at points with parenting or marriages, whatever it is. I
Right.
mean, everyone has probably experienced that to some degree, but my joy overall, whatever I may have faced, or if I the ebb and flow of feelings of mental health that were bothering me before, the joy, the one singular joy in my life, at least, are the kids, their success, providing for them, doing for them, teaching, all that, the, their their journey before me. Um, and later on, when I'm by myself, or maybe going through private moments and
Yeah.
l- time where I'm not with them. For those of you who don't know, I'm divorced, and it's kind of a 50-50 with my ex-wife. We co-parent. We're amicably raising the kids, and it takes a village, whole kind of thing, whatever. But when I have my solo time, I mean, there's times where it's you have a lot of time in your mind and you dwell, and things maybe can eat at you. But the goal of raising the kids and keeping them happy keeps me happy. So that's a big positive in my life. So
And anticipating the next Wildcat chat. That's your other
that too,
guilty
yes.
pleasure, right?
Being social when you can is healthy. That's healthy too. Yes.
Connecting with others, it sounds like it's helpful for you. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I mean, social connections help. I mean, if you if you're a recluse, and don't get me wrong, I've always been a social, outgoing person in my probably first 2/3 of my life. As you get older, maybe it's a change in your life or your habits, where you're kind of like, you know, I don't want to leave the house. People irritate me, that kind of thing. I'm a reasonable, friendly person. I'm outgoing and very friendly. At the same time, I'm just like, well, um, sometimes you got to have your privacy, because you got to treat yourself. Solitude's good. It's not an unhealthy thing. Just you just enjoy maybe things that you embrace, whether it's reading a book, certain movies, or whatever. But I'm social. Yes, I try to say social. I'm very active with the kids. Outside of that, at this point in my life, you know, um, for mental health, I like to stay involved, maybe be active, uh, keep learning, go to somewhere like a
I love
museum,
that.
whatever it is. Just
Oh, you get
keep
it.
yourself
I get
active.
it. Yeah, I love that stuff, Shane. I love learning. It's one of my
And
joys.
take the kids along. You got teach
Well,
them, some of the joys you might like. I don't know.
I have a suggestion, Shane. You ready for this? What about if you paint with
Ha
the
ha
envelope?
I'm no good at
Nice,
painting.
nice
I
little
I did
segue. I like
pursue
that.
that for a while, and I got into whatever the depths of my talent was. Great. Okay, cool. Not for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm with you on that, Shane. I'm with you on that. But you know what's so weird? Like, this literally just happened. Rod took one of his paintings down, and so there's a big spot. And I'm like, Rod, I'm getting really depressed. Can you put one of your paintings up? I'm gonna have a
can
panic
you
attack.
hang something in
I
that
go, I go, can
spot?
you just please put your painting back up, or just swap it with something else? I need it. And I found that his paintings have provided, just having them around, provide joy for me, even though I don't have art talent. I don't paint. I don't do any of
Although
that.
you're a good art critic, though.
I'm a very good art critic.
Yes. Whenever I think I'm done with a painting, Shane, I'll say, "Oh, Rachel, what do you think?" Before you sign the bottom of it, where artists do, they sign it, then they're officially done. Before I sign it, I got to get clearance. So
I mean, or if you
I'm
hey,
like, no,
if
she
you
has an outlook. Like, oh, good point.
eh,
Almost, you
or if
know
you
what
have
I
a
mean?
relapse, you have a bad day. You could just be like, you know what,
I
self
almost
care.
forgot got to
Maybe
put.
maybe if I get a meal that I've deprived myself from a long time because I'm trying
I
to eat
almost forgot.
this way healthy. You know what? Tonight I'm just gonna eat some Mexican.
Shane, you know
Because you know
what?
what? Look,
Oh,
blood is thicker than water, but cheese dip is thicker than blood. And so technically, queso is probably more important than your family sometimes.
I
Shane.
was
Just
gonna.
kidding.
I gotta say something. You just hit it. You hit something with me. For the first time the other night, and Rod backed me up. This
Yeah.
never happened to me before. And those of you who have an eating disorder, this doesn't happen very often. This was the first time it ever happened to me. I go, I want to do something nice for myself. I go, I want to eat this, and I've never said food as like a good thing of a, like I wanted it, like as a reward. Not that food should be a reward, but I've never said, you know what I feel like? I'm just going to have this today and let everything go. And I'm like, oh, I like this Rachael. This is my new Rachael. I like her. She's more uninhibited, like a little bit more daring. But that's what was so amazing about what you said, is like letting yourself have something. I'm like, who's been telling you no?
Well, yeah, we were
I'm all
talking about that the other
that's
day too,
me.
Ray. Is because we were saying, like, when you make even a smaller change leads to another larger change to maybe a bigger change.
Momentum.
But yeah, keep the momentum moving forward. Even if they're little tiny changes or sampling out new things here and there. I mean, it's progress.
And you know
It's
what
a
I noticed even
trajectory.
with Rod with his painting, when I was like, at first I was like, because I'm like very comfortable around Rod, and I just like bleh, like I'll just say what's going on, and then I'm like, that wasn't helpful. And then I saw his painting kind of lagging, and then I was like, look at what he's doing. Wow, okay, but Rod, you did this, and all of a sudden I got more strength focused on what he's doing. He started plowing through them like crazy. It's amazing when you encourage someone what they're capable of.
What did you say before? It was like a while ago. I thought I was done. And oh, looks great. You're not done yet, are you? And I go, she was very, and I go, I guess not.
I'm
What do you
sorry,
see
I
that
have
I don't
autism.
see?
Autism. Sorry about that.
No, but she was able to, see something that I didn't. I was giving her the example before is that, when you're trying to put a piece to a puzzle together and you're trying to find where it goes, and somebody walks up and goes, "Oh, it just goes there." You're like, how did, they have a different perspective, different view than you do. You know what I mean? So it's always good to have
It's almost like you went from
another angle.
daycare finger painting and you evolved all the way to Bob Ross. You're just a regular Bob Ross now. You
Can
need
I,
your
can
own
I
Oh,
can I
outfit.
show you what I'm
Shane,
working on, Shane? Can I show you?
Shane, you said almost exactly what I told him the first time. I go, it looks like a 4-year-old did it. And yeah, he was like, what? I'm like, oh,
He,
he's
he
Now,
went
now
from
thinking
look
doing
at
out
that. You
loud.
kind
he
of
went from
did.
doing hieroglyphics on the cave walls, and now he's doing some masterpieces, right?
I know it slipped out, and I'm like, "Oh, filter, Rachael, filter, back in your mouth, back in your mouth." I just because I'm so comfortable around him, you're with your spouse, and then I'm like, "That was not helpful, Rachael, not helpful at all." And then after I changed that conversation, he just skyrocketed. It was amazing. That's why I'm laughing at what you said
Well,
because
it's funny. Some of my projects I've been doing lately, I gifted 4 different paintings, I believe. Yeah, four paintings for the holidays, and um, most of them I spent like weeks on. You know what I mean? But the one that I only spent like one day on was this one. It's the one that you were talking about, Shane, with
See, yeah,
Rachael.
I'm digging that one lately.
isn't
Of
that
your latest
awesome?
of his latest releases, that's with the way he did the water texture. That's probably his most realistic one I've seen of him do in a while. I'm not like the official judge of your art, Rod, but I'm just saying I was really
No,
pleased
that
with that
one's
one.
great. Shay, you are right. You are right on that one. That one, I was like, I looked over, it was blank. I looked a couple hours later. I'm like, what? How did you do that? I'm like,
The man,
wow.
the man upstairs does it. I'm just the messenger.
You just
He
put the whole
grabs
Shamu
my.
juju on that whole painting and made it look
Right?
incredible.
I
Thank you.
know. He's so
I appreciate
amazingly
it.
talented.
You
I'm
stick
like,
with
what are you
it.
going to do next? What are you going to do next?
Well, if anyone does want to paint with me, I am doing it online Sunday afternoons. So I'll keep you posted if anyone wants to paint with me online.
I love it.
I
That's
saw
a
a
self
body
care.
painting event at Burning Man a video one time, but that's probably something totally different. But I digress. Maybe they were
Okay.
painting them with queso, like I talked about earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, you could do
well,
that too,
thank
you
you,
know?
Just dip your
guys.
chip off of the
I'll get
person
some
with the queso
comments.
on
You guys, thanks.
Aw,
I appreciate the love, you guys. Thank you so much.
that
I
picture is
appreciate
Hey, that picture's
it.
gnarly. Yeah,
gnarly.
I love
Good
that.
gnarly.
Gnarly. Yeah,
I love
You,
the
so
80s words.
for those out there watching, Rod's a big fan of the buzzwords from the '80s. He uses gnarly very often. He tells me
Rad.
rad. He tells me
I do
things
Also,
on text
too.
from time to time. That's very gnarly, bro. Yeah.
I
oh
do too.
man.
I do the same thing. I'll talk like 80s talk.
Well, I told Rachel we would keep it under an hour, and I said
Oh,
I
God.
promise because she does need to get some nutrition in,
Yes, I
get her feet.
do.
Is there any call to action, Rachel, you like for?
Yes. Could you lower the volume just a little bit?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Good.
For those of you, what we're doing is Self-Care Sunday. And so I wanted to say, my accountability buddies out there, like I promised, I found a self-care and that I'm doing something fun finally. And I'm playing a little bit of video games, and I'll play just a little bit at night. So I'm learning to take a time out, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it, because self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is good.
It is the
Self-care,
opposite of burnout. Did you know
yes,
that?
it is.
It is the opposite.
So Shane shared one, and he has one that I really enjoy, is connecting with people and learning. Those are my two go-tos for self-care. And then I just picked up a third one, which is the gaming. And my fourth one actually is watching Rod paint. That's another way I self-care. I found that to be therapeutic. So, guys, I need some more ideas and some advice. Could you guys please drop a line into some self-care ideas, because you helped me come up with them? I wouldn't have figured them out,
Yes.
you
What do
know,
you guys
without.
do for self-care?
Yeah, what do you do for self-care? And it could be something simple, like picking your favorite thing to eat. I thought that's a fifth one I did.
Mhm.
That was a fifth one. I self-cared and allowed myself to have something.
Also, I have a massage gun now. I got last month, utilizing for massage.
Oh, he got for Christmas. Yeah.
Yes.
Felt my back and everything, because I've been having a lot of pain from kidneys. So, guys, I'm not, like, physically, my body's been struggling. I'm attending to it. We have my doctors will be coming back, and they've been ramping up, so that way I don't have to go into the hospital or anything like that. They're ramping up my nutrition and my electrolytes, which I'm so grateful for. And thank you for the Zofran miracle. Getting that
Yes.
Zofran has allowed me to eat. And it also gave me my hunger back. So I'm
good.
taking advantage of that. That's a big thing for me. If I feel hungry, I even eat when I'm not hungry, but I have to eat when I'm hungry. So now that my appetite's back, I want to attend to that, because self-care, you got to put yourself first to help others, right? And helping others helps me.
I have one that's going to bring a tear to your eye, Rachel. Oh, it's not that one. It's this one. Look what Amanda says. My self-care is talking to
Oh,
you.
Amanda.
Aw.
Wow.
Just had to throw that in there.
Oh,
Thank you,
bless
Amanda.
you, my
So
love.
sweet. Well, thank you, Shane, with being with us today, man. You're a stud. You're my friend, and you're amazing. Thank
And
you
mine
for joining
too.
us.
And mine
And
too.
Rachel, of course. Thank you.
I love
And,
you, Shane. And I love you, Amanda.
I love
Thanks for having me.
Self-Care Sundays.
I
Kick off
love
your week strong with Self-Care Sunday. I like that.
Subscribe, hit the bell.
Oh, hit the bell.
and
Be
get
notified.
I love you. You're my family. Keep loving yourself. Poop unicorns, crap rainbows. Flip it around and say I love you to yourself, because you are special and you are heard, you are seen, and I love you. And I'll see you soon. We have some
Take care,
Hear you
guys.
while
videos
I
to
go
post.
love myself.
Take care, and I mean that.
Love yourself, and we will have some videos to post with some more updates coming at you.
Yes.